It's time for the 7th episode of What If Season 2 with What If Hela Found the 10 Ring, which in this episode is pretty much a What If Thor, What If Shang-Chi, and What If Infinity War episode because of everything that happened during it with multiple things that would lead into each of those movies. The one thing I did think from this episode though is that Hela was actually going to find the 10 rings first and then team up with Wenwu or something along those lines because of how the episode was titled. But instead it was Hela actually just meeting Wenwu, who already had the 10 rings and had been conquering stuff prior. Except in this, he doesn't seem like that bad of a guy. He just wants to protect the world. Where this episode starts off is showing what we saw in Thor Ragnarok, where Hela and Odin were conquering the 9 realms to be under Asgard's rule. But Odin was finished after the 9 realms and Hela wanted to conquer the entire universe. And that's when in the main timeline MCU, she would have been sent to Hell and imprisoned there. However, in this universe, he casted her out just like how he did to Thor during the first Thor movie, even saying some of the similar lines that he said to put the enchantment on Hela's crown as he did Mjolnir in Thor 1.
Whoever wears this crown, should she know mercy, shall possess the power of Hela.
Whoever holds this hammer, if he be worthy, shall possess the power of Thor.
He also catches Mjolnir and breaks it like Hela does during Thor Ragnarok. When Hela gets casted to Earth, the crown lands in China, and Wenwu finds it. Even having Hela go to try to pick up her own crown, just like how Thor tries to pick up Mjolnir, having them struggle and not be able to do it, and having the lightning go off from the background. So I thought these were cool references to the first Thor movie, but having Hela in place. As we go forward through the story, Wenwu wants to make an alliance with Hela, knowing she's strong, and wants her to help him save the world and protect it. And it's funny because when he attempts to go for a kiss, like he's having this connection with this goddess that fell from the sky, she knocks him out and tries to steal the rings, because what else are you gonna do when you got these super powerful weapons standing in front of you? But this episode was the shortest What If episode so far, so everything picked up really quickly and kind of moved the story along. Where after that happens, she makes her escape with one of the Daizhengs, which is the Morris creature we saw in Shang-Chi, and he brings her to Ta Lo, which then she ends up running into the protector of Ta Lo, which is what Shang-Chi's mother did during that movie. She ends up out of Heimdall's view, because Heimdall, for some reason, cannot see Ta Lo because it's another dimension. So I thought that was interesting, showing that Heimdall's view isn't everywhere. But during this scene, while Hela's talking to all the people, we get a reference to them being the protectors from the underworld, which is a reference to the Dweller of Darkness, because I think by this point in time, the Dweller of Darkness would have been locked in that cave. And on top of it, Hela would have been from Hell, which means she is also an enemy of the underworld. But in this universe, because she never got sent to Hell, she wouldn't be that. While this is all going on, Odin worries about Wenwu and the 10 rings because he thinks his age of peace is coming to an end because Hela can no longer be found, thinking that Wenwu took out his daughter, which we get a cool training montage with Hela training in Ta Lo, learning how to do their martial arts, and then even having her admit that she just wants the freedom of her own path.
Freedom. Freedom from control. The freedom to choose my own path.
Showing her as a little girl being forced by Odin to be this monster, being trained to be his killer, even symbolizing it by having Fenris being chained up, and she questions why, because Fenris is a good boy. Odin saying that you have to chain up and tame these creatures in order to have them not revolt on you later. Kind of pointing out that he did that with his own daughter, making it that she's the monster that he turned her into. He trained her to be like that so she wouldn't turn on him, but in the end she did. And when Odin does arrive, he's doing it because he wants to avenge his daughter, apparently, even though he sees that the 10 rings are a threat and he wants them. It led into a decent fight with Hela and Wenwu working together to take down Odin, and then having Hela realize what she really wants, what peace really is, and that she doesn't want to just conquer the universe with death. Instead, she wants to save everyone, and she wants them to have the freedom to choose their own path like she wants. Which is why when she's taking down Odin, her crown comes to her. She dons a white suit instead of black, symbolizing her becoming a symbol of peace. And then having her and Wenwu go around the galaxy and build an empire of liberators, even having them go and liberate Gamora's world from Thanos, that like we saw in Infinity War. So that's where the What If Infinity War part comes from. And I'm honestly surprised that this episode didn't connect to the last two, especially because in the last 2 episodes, we had a little end scene setting up the Guardians of the Multiverse once again that never continued after this, which just kind of felt out of place. Like it's not a big deal that they didn't connect, but maybe this episode should have been before the other 2 first and then had everything connect so that this one didn't feel just kind of off. However, I'm sure they're going to be using Hela for something. She's now this powerful liberator who could be useful. And in the end, this also just changes the entire universe as a whole, because Hela becomes the Queen of Asgard, stomping Thanos in his tracks so he never got the Infinity Stone. He never destroyed half the universe. And then every other event after that just never happened. Also, Shang-Chi would have most likely been Hela's son if he was even born to begin with. Thor probably was still born, but was raised in a way different environment. So pretty cool how this universe changed just from Hela not going to hell. And I like what they did, even though it was a little bit of a quicker episode. But let me know, what did you think of What If Hela Found the 10 Rings? And did you notice any other MCU Easter eggs and references during it? I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to hit the like and the subscribe button to stay up to date with all my Marvel videos. Thanks again, and I'll talk to you tomorrow when we watch another episode of What If.